Hello, welcome back to my channel. This is the video I promised you some time ago. I get a lot of questions about my house, and I'm very grateful to you for them. As you know, YouTube works that way. When you write comments, more people see the video. I usually answer questions right there in the comments, but however, some questions come up again and again, and others are too complicated to answer properly in a YouTube video, in a YouTube comment. So I decided to record a Q&A video. If you have new questions after watching it, feel free to ask them right here in the comments also, and maybe I will record another one. So let's start. How much did I spend for this? This is the question I get most often, so I decided to answer it first. The house cost me 12,000 euros. At first the owners wanted 13,000, but I managed to negotiate a little bit, a lower price. This price includes both the house and 600 meters of land next to it. In general, property prices here depend a lot on how close the place to big cities, especially to Belgrade, of course. Eastern Serbia is a depressed region for some historical reasons, and real estate prices here are among the lowest ones in Serbia. The next question: am I going to live here permanently? Short answer: I don't know yet. My job, I'm a software engineer, allows me to work remotely. But I have a school-aged son, and if I suggest him that he move from Belgrade to a village, he would, to put it mildly, do not understand me. Of course, I want to give him all the opportunities that a big city offers. However, in a few years, when he is already an adult, moving to the house will become much more realistic for me. Is this house suitable to get residence permit? It is, but I don't need that option. In my case, I already have permanent residence permit in Serbia, and also I'm registered at a rented apartment in Belgrade, and I'm not sure if I should change this address to the village yet. It seems, easier to handle all the bureaucratic matters in one place in the city. What next? What next? That's a funny one. How long will the whole repair saga last? I don't know. That's the most honest answer I can get. It depends not so much on time as on the money I can spend on it. And with my current level of expenses, the renovation will take several years. I mean, bringing the house to a livable condition, because improving it can go on forever, So what else? How's life there in winter? You might notice that I do not live there permanently, but when I live there, it's fabulous. The air is much cleaner than in Belgrade. The roads are in acceptable condition, and they are cleaned regularly. Shops and cafes are open in the winter. The spa resorts in Sakabanya are also open, and unlike in summer, they are almost empty. So that means you don't have to wait for your turn in the hammam or somewhere else. The only drawback I can name: sometimes there are power outages that last for several hours. I already had it several times during my stay there. So it's better not to rely on electricity too much For example, not to make it the only source of heating, you know. What quality of internet connection is available? Is there fiber optics? No, no fiber optics, unfortunately. I bought the portable Wi-Fi router, which uses the SIM card, and you might know that Serbia already has 5G coverage, so for my purposes, including uploading video like this on YouTube, the throughput is perfect, more than enough. Next question, plans for 2026. Oh, there will be a long one, because you know, it's hard to explain briefly. My most ambitious goal for 2026 is to solve all infrastructure tasks, including replacing the floor and the ceiling, installing water supply and sewage, and so on. And all this work has to be done step by step. For example, to have working sewage, I need a septic tank. You know, for that, I need to dig a very large pit. And with the local rocky soil, you could see it when I dug the pit for the water meter. I don't want to do it by hand anymore. There is a man in the village with an excavator who I could hire, but right now the excavator cannot enter the plot because the height difference between the road and the plot is too big. So first I need to build an entrance to my land. Only after that I can start installing the sewage system. As for the floor, also I have not made a decision yet, because right now it's based on a large 14-meter wooden beam, you know, an old one. Over decades it has bent, and the whole house is like a big bowl, you know. The closer to the center, the lower the floor level. Either I will make a reinforced concrete floor, or I will place steel beams, I-beams probably, on the stone walls and put wooden joists on them. Each option has its pros and cons, and I'm still doing the calculations here. I would also like to replace the windows with better insulated ones, while I would like to keep their original look, you know, with divided panes. Ordering such custom windows would cost me a fortune, and I don't have and will not have that kind of money. So most likely I will try to make them myself, and we will see how it goes, you know. As you can see, there are a lot of plans. I am not yet sure if I will be able to complete all of them, but it will be great. Let's move on to the next question. Isn't that easier to demolish it and build from scratch? Also really popular question. Much easier, of course, much easier. I just, you know, really like this old house and I want to give it a second life. It is technically difficult and certainly much more expensive than building from scratch. But if I succeed, from my perspective, the result will be worth it. What are Serbian villages in comparison with Russian ones? You know, Serbian villages can be quite different. So as Russian ones, I believe. And also, I would not say that I'm a big expert on the Russian countryside. I always lived in the cities in Russia. So my view may seem rather superficial to some of you. I can only apologize for that. What would I say? First of all, Serbian villages are more prosperous, more rich than the villages I know in central Russia. Maybe in the south there is other situation, but I never lived in the south of Russia. They are also slowly losing population, but in Serbia this process is much slower. The houses that are lived, not abandoned like mine, are on average in better condition than in Russia. Roads, lighting, utility and something like that are better too. Another thing I noticed is much lower fences. Fences do exist, but they are usually, transparent and not solid and not very high. So a sheep will not jump over them, but a neighbor passing by his on his tractor can still say hello. Definitely will. In general, people are friendlier, but this is not only about villages. The same is true in cities. So that's about it. Sorry, I can say, as I said, it can be superficial to someone. Does this building have status of a cultural heritage? Should you build it with the original materials? Long story short, it doesn't, and I shouldn't. The house is very old and was registered in the real estate cadastre without a project. That actually gives me a lot of freedom. I can rebuild it however I want, using any materials and technologies, because the building inspection simply does not have information about how this house was built. They only know its borders and living area, so I cannot, for example, add another floor or extend it by building a new room. But even if I take the house apart completely and build it again within the old boundaries, everything will be legal. Of course, I do not plan, to abuse this. I just want to make the house stronger and warmer using modern materials, but to keep his brilliant look. And I have opportunity to do this. Was the water connection expensive? It depends on what you compare it with. Connection to the central water supply cost 800 euros. This is cheaper and more predictable than digging a well by myself. But I might not have been allowed to do it because the decision to connect a new user to the system is made by the council, by the local council. Luckily, my application was approved by them. And also the municipality allowed me to pay this amount in installments over 6 months without any interest. And that's really great, and I'm very grateful for that to them. How much does it cost to get the power supply? I paid 500 euro, and it could be worse and could be better. I already told about that in one of my videos. The electrical company didn't make it in time, so I had to ask the private worker who has the license for that type of work. Luckily, inside the house, all the wires are in place, so it didn't require additional costs. Could be worse. Is the gas heating an option? No. As far as I know, there is no gas in the village. Now I'm thinking about a combination of electrical and wooden heating. As I told before, when you have electrical outages from time to time, it's more reliable to have an alternative. Now I have only wooden heating there, as you know. Is this cat in your videos yours? If so, how does she live while you are not on the site? What's her name? Her name is Ronica or Rulka, or come on little Satan, I fed you 5 minutes ago. No, she isn't mine. She's a neighbor one. We are good friends with her, but when I'm not around, she's begging for food somewhere else. And I think she's fine. Did your neighbor really steal your menu? Of course he didn't. It was a joke. It was a menu from his sheep, which were living in my yard before I bought this house. We both agreed that the right to own the manure is decided by blood, not by land. not as citizenship in the United States, you know. Otherwise, we would have to go to court to see, I don't know, King Solomon. What would he do? Would he tell us to cut the manor in half? I don't know. What's the next question? What is the climate comparing to Belgrade? My house is on a mountain slope, and it is higher than almost all the other houses in the village, so it is noticeably colder there. As you remember, the first snow fell already in October, and on average, from what I feel, it's about 3 or 4 degrees colder than in Belgrade. Oh, that's a funny one. I have watched a lot of videos of restoration of houses, but yours are the funniest ones until now, because it looks like you don't know much about restoring a house and seems like you don't know what to do. I love this comment and glad you are having fun. That's true, that's true. I have zero experience in restoring a house. Despite this fact, I had significant progress for the last 4 months. I built the staircase, rebuilt the porch, connected the water and the electricity, and so on. I do my best, believe me. And I'm always ready to ask for help from more experienced people. One of my friends is quite an experienced guy who helped me a lot. If you have any advice, do not hesitate to write it wherever you want, because, you know, it helps. It helps. Regarding not knowing what to do, here I wouldn't agree. I answered a bit earlier about my plans for 2026, so you can have your own impression on that. The last one, why you do not make videos more often? I am not only an inexperienced builder, but also an experienced video operator and video editor. I cannot hire professionals to film and edit because I just do not have enough money for that. Also, I have family and a job that both deserve my attention. So, if one day I become popular and get some subscribers, maybe I can earn money from the YouTube partner program or what, and invest it in production. It's, you know, it's a dream, not a plan. If you want this as much as I do, you know what to do. Please like my videos, share them, leave comments. You know the rules, actually. So yeah, that's it for today. Thank you very much for watching, and I would be really grateful for any feedback in the comments. If a lot of people like this kind of videos, I will do them on a regular basis. So stay tuned, and bye bye.
Como le